evening, I'm Raghavi and welcome to the Above the Fold show. In this episode, we bring you the latest on the devastating fire at a South Delhi restaurant that has claimed at least 21 lives. Karnataka's much anticipated leadership transition with DK Shivkumar taking oath as Chief Minister. Former Tamil Nadu BJP President K. Annamalai's new political venture and much more. So stay with us for the full report. A major fire at a hotel cum restaurant in Delhi's Malviya Nagar has claimed at least 21 lives and left several others injured. The blaze broke out this morning, triggering a massive rescue operation involving fire services, police, and emergency teams. More than 40 people were rescued and shifted to hospitals. Authorities say many of the victims are believed to be foreign nationals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced ex gratia compensation, while other political leaders across parties have expressed grief. Rescue and search operations are still underway.
A massive fire at a hotel cum restaurant in Delhi's Malviya Nagar has claimed at least 21 lives and injured several others, making it one of the deadliest fire tragedies in the capital in recent years. The blaze broke out this morning and quickly engulfed parts of the establishment, triggering a large scale rescue operation involving the Delhi Fire Service, Delhi Police, ambulance services, and disaster management teams. According to officials, the fire was reported at around 8:48 a.m., following which multiple fire tenders were rushed to the spot. Rescue personnel worked for hours to evacuate those trapped inside the building. More than 40 people were rescued and shifted to nearby hospitals for treatment. Authorities have said that many of those who lost their lives are believed to be foreign nationals, although identification efforts are still underway. Deputy Commissioner of Police Anant Mittal said local police teams reached the scene immediately after receiving information and began evacuation and relief operations. Firefighters eventually brought the blaze under control, but not before it caused extensive casualties and damage.
सुबह मैं जब दुकान के लिए जा रहा था, यहाँ से थोड़ी आग लगी थी पहले, फिर उसके बाद में बढ़ती चली गई। आग बढ़ने के बाद में फिर जैसे यहाँ से कोई रास्ता नहीं था कूदने का, फिर इन्होंने बेचारों ने गद्दे बिछाए। गद्दे बिछाने के बाद में एक तो बच्चे को ही ले रही थी, छोटे से बच्चे को लेके वो तीसरी मंजिल पे से कूदी, लेकिन उसका पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था।
The incident has prompted reactions from leaders across the political spectrum. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the loss of lives and announced an ex gratia payment of rupees 2 lakh for the next of kin of each deceased victim and rupees 50,000 for those injured. Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta and Lieutenant Governor Taranjit Singh Sandhu also conveyed their condolences and assured support for the affected families. Union Home Minister Amit Shah said rescue and relief efforts were continuing while Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge urged the authorities to ensure adequate compensation and timely medical care for the injured. As the investigation begins, attention is likely to focus on whether the establishment complied with fire safety regulations and whether adequate emergency measures were in place. The tragedy has once again reignited concerns about the fire safety standards in commercial buildings across Indian cities. Over the years, several deadly fires in hotels, restaurants, and other public establishments have exposed gaps in enforcement, emergency preparedness, and compliance with safety norms. Questions are also being raised about buildings' permission and evacuation protocols, fire exits, and routine safety inspections. Experts have often pointed out that the regulations exist on paper, but enforcement remains inconsistent. In densely populated urban areas, even minor lapses can quickly turn into major disasters when emergency exits are blocked, firefighting equipment is adequate, or buildings exceed approved occupancy limits.
Next, we turn to Karnataka, where DK Shivkumar was sworn in as the state's 34th Chief Minister, along with 13 ministers. The ceremony was attended by senior Congress leaders, including Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, and chief ministers from Congress-ruled states. More in this report.
After weeks of political negotiations and a closely watched transition, TK Shivakumar formally took charge as Karnataka's 34th Chief Minister, bringing the Congress leadership change in the state to a close. The swearing-in ceremony was attended by outgoing Chief Minister Sitaramayya, senior Congress leaders Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge, along with Chief Ministers Revanth Reddy, Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu and V.D. Satishan. At Lok Bhavan, Governor Tawarchand Gehlot administered the oath of office. T.K. Shivakumar took oath in the name of late Seer Gangadhara Ajaya while holding a copy of the constitution and offering floral tributes to the seer. In contrast, G. Parameshwara took oath as Deputy Chief Minister in the name of B.R. Ambedkar. 13 ministers were inducted into the cabinet, including M.B. Patil, K.J. George, K.H. Muniappa, Ramalinga Reddy, Krishna Baire Gowda, Priyank Kharge, Ishwar Kandre, Bhairati Suresh, Satish Jarkiholi, and Yatindra Siddaramaiah, who makes his cabinet debut. While the Chief Minister's post has passed to Shivakumar, the composition of the cabinet bears a strong Siddaramaiah imprint. Several of the former Chief Minister's close associates have secured berths, while his son Yatindra has also been inducted. The appointment of G. Parameshwara as Deputy Chief Minister being seen as a move to accommodate a senior aspirant and maintain the party's internal balance. Meanwhile, the inclusion of Satish Jarkiholi, a key Siddaramaiah ally, is seen as a significant for the party's outreach among the scheduled tribe communities and its efforts to retain political influence in the crucial Belgavi region. Attention is now likely to shift to the party organization, with senior leader B.K. Hariprasad emerging as a leader contender for the post of Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee President. With several senior leaders yet to be accommodated and no woman legislator included in the first round of appointments, the next cabinet expansion, expected after the Rajya Sabha elections, will be closely watched.
Now to Tamil Nadu, where former BJP state president K. Annamalai has reportedly resigned from the party. Sources told The Hindu that he submitted his resignation on Tuesday and held meetings with senior BJP leaders, including Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Despite efforts to persuade him, sources say Annamalai remained firm on his decision. He is now expected to launch a new political movement that could eventually take shape as a regional political party. A former Karnataka cadre IPS officer, Annamalai joined the BJP in 2020 and went on to lead the party's Tamil Nadu unit from 2021 to 2025. After being replaced as state president by Naina Nagendran last year, he chose not to contest the subsequent elections and described himself as an ordinary party worker. His departure marks a significant setback for the BJP in Tamil Nadu, where he emerged as one of the party's most prominent faces. Developments continue to unfold in West Asia, where an Iranian drone and missile attack struck Kuwait International Airport early on Wednesday, according to the country's state news agency. Officials said the attack caused severe damage to the airport's Terminal 1 building, injured several people, and forced authorities to divert flights. The US military said some Iranian missiles fired toward Kuwait either fell short or broke apart mid-flight, while missiles launched toward Bahrain were intercepted by US and Bahrainian forces. US Central Command added that Iran had launched ballistic missiles toward regional neighbors, but none successfully hit their intended targets. Meanwhile, US forces said they carried out strikes on Iran's Qushm Island in response to the attempted attacks and also intercepted multiple Iranian missiles and drones. Let's now turn to the Hindu Roundup for some of our exclusive content. In our editorial today, titled Change in Arrangement, it argues that the Congress has managed Karnataka's leadership transition from Siddaramaiah to D.K. Shivakumar more effectively than similar changes in other states. The editorial says the move not only addresses internal party concerns, but is also aimed at strengthening the Congress ahead of the 2028 Assembly elections. However, it notes that Shivakumar's real challenge will be sustaining fiscal discipline, reducing regional disparities, and ensuring more inclusive development across Karnataka. Tap the card above to watch the editorial on the Hindu Originals YouTube channel. In the new episode of the In Focus podcast, Pon Vasant B.A., Senior Assistant Editor with The Hindu, speaks to V. Geeta, feminist historian, translator and publisher, about Tamizhaga Vetri Kalagam's stunning victory in the 2026 Tamil Nadu Assembly election. She examines why Vijay's win should be seen as a contingent moment, discusses the shortcomings of both the DMK and the AIADMK, and analyzes the TVK's campaign strategy and the factors that contributed to this unexpected electoral outcome. Here's a snippet.
Did you anticipate this result? And what were your initial thoughts when the results were breaking on May 4th?
I must confess, I didn't take a great deal of interest in these elections. In fact, I wondered if I should even vote. But then, of course, given the situation in the rest of the country, I felt every vote against an authoritarian government counts in whatever manner, so I should vote. So I didn't follow the election results all that keenly, but by the time that it was evident that TVK was going to emerge as the largest party, I was surprised, I'll admit, but I wasn't shocked.
Okay.
I wasn't shocked because I felt that the DMK had lost terrain.
Okay.
This much was evident just talking to random people.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
From a driver who does Uber or Ola to younger people who were just going to vote for the first time. So it was clear that there was a new sort of interest in politics.
Right.
The war in Ukraine has taken another deadly turn. A drone attack in the Russian-controlled Donetsk region of eastern Ukraine has killed at least 7 people and injured 11 others, according to Kremlin-installed regional authorities. Denis Pushilin, the Moscow-backed head of the region, said the drone struck a passenger bus traveling between Moscow and Simferopol in Russian-occupied Crimea. Russia's investigative committee has launched a criminal probe classifying the incident as a terrorist attack. Development comes amid a sharp escalation in hostilities between Russia and Ukraine. Just a day earlier, Russia carried out a massive drone and missile strike on Kyiv, saying it was a retaliation for a deadly attack on a dormitory in the Russia-controlled Luhansk region. Ukrainian President Zelensky has warned that further Russian attacks could be imminent, raising concerns about a new cycle of escalation in the conflict. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts on today's episode in the comment section. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to share it and save the About the Fold playlist so you never miss an update.